Hello everyone and welcome to episode 126 of my Guild Wars 2 Let's Play series, and we have returned for another festival where I want to explore all the festivals in Guild Wars 2, where the first year as I do this I want to go super in depth and then maybe just do like a casual video every year, just kind of having fun with the festivals as they roll around, where we explored the last festival, the Festival of the Four Winds and the Crown Pavilion, and today it is Shadow of the Mad King, the Halloween festival for Guild Wars 2, which is such an iconic festival. Going all the way back to the original Guild Wars, this is a pretty big event, and in Guild Wars 2 it is a pretty big event as well, where for a lot of players this is a super nostalgic one just because it is the first update to Guild Wars 2 following the release of Guild Wars 2 before Living World Season 1 updates started rolling out. This was like the first major patch that added new content into the game, and over the years more and more content and more rewards have been added, and I just want to go through some different things and just play for upwards of an hour and then call it good. And in future years we can try to complete some more different and interesting things, where we got Drubert's ghost right here, who we saw in the Town of Prosperity. We saw his body and his ghost hangs out at every festival, and we got a bunch of vendors where this festival takes place in Lion's Arch, and we can actually see that there are a few different areas that we can go to where we have these vendors, and it's kind of interesting that there's like different hubs and there's some specific NPCs around Lion's Arch as the festival is going on. And this is like the big central area where we got this candy corn vendor where we can buy some special items, where we could get a pumpkin crown if we wanted, and there's just a bunch of different rewards. And when it comes to this account in this series, I don't care too much about the rewards, and this is like a specific skin that I want to go for, but I don't really have anything on my mind just yet, but maybe in the future we will have something. Where we have some mail that we can go ahead and read, where we get these 5 pieces of candy corn, where once again Halloween falls across Tyria. The doorways between our world and the Mad Realm are opening, and the ancient Crichton monarch Mad King Thorn walks the streets of Lion's Arch again. I've assured the Captain's Council that it's all relatively safe this time, but I'm sure they'd appreciate a brave adventurer like yourself making an appearance, not to mention the opportunities for field research in the Mad Realm itself. Visit me at the Grand Piazza at your earliest convenience, which is something that we can do if we want, but we can take the candy corn, which is the primary currency for buying all the items, where we can turn 1,000 into a cob, and then we spend a ton of cobs in order to get some items. Some of the items cost 120 candy corn cobs, which is insane. But around Lion's Arch we also got some carving pumpkins that we can go ahead and carve, where we just got progress on an achievement here, where if we carve 150 we will get the Master Carver achievement. And a really fun thing that is special with this festival is, let's come to Shaymore really quickly, because in each of the starting areas we can find a little area where people are celebrating the Shadow of the Mad King, with Mad King Thorn being an ancient Crichton monarch, and Crichton in particular has a bunch of carving pumpkins in its maps that you can carve as well, which is fun. But the lore and story of Mad King Thorn is pretty cool, and his connections to the Lich Palawajoko from the original Guild Wars, who is the current ruler, tyrannical ruler of Elona. But over here we see in Shaymore, we got a door to the Mad King's Labyrinth, where he has his own realm in the mists that we can explore some interesting and unique areas. But we can see out here in the open road of Tyria, we got a Master Carver here, and we got this carving pumpkin. And then we just have a bunch of fun decorations where we have like a full-on stage right here with these hay bales, and these areas can be found in each of the starting zones. So if we come down here to the village of Astoria, we can see something a little bit different, where I think the one in Shaymore is my favorite of all of the little decorations that we got going up in the starting areas. But I just love it with the Shadow of the Mad King, and I really wish this is something that was like more prominent, I guess with this festival too, but with all the other festivals as well, where we could see like a ton of decorations all around Tyria as the festival is going on, so the world of Tyria feels like it's Shadow of the Mad King. But here in the Savari starting area, we got this candy corn ghosts, and we got this fun little wagon here, and then we got this cool little tent and just a bunch of pumpkins and stuff, and it's just so nice. But let's go back to Lion's Arch. The loading screen for Lion's Arch, of course, changes as the festival is going on, and we can see the Mystic Forge here is some sort of interesting cauldron with green goo bubbling out of it, which the entirety of the Shadow of the Mad King festival basically revolves around the idea of Halloween and all the vibes that Halloween provides. And personally, I'm somebody who likes those vibes a lot, and Halloween is one of my favorite holidays. Not necessarily my favorite holiday, but it is definitely really, really cool. And I just love like fall in general, and this entire festival has like a ton of fall vibes with trees and whatnot. But as we load in, we can see the Mystic Forge at some point. There we go. It's just a really, really cool cauldron. And there's even a tiny little jumping puzzle that we can do, where we can jump up here and then we can jump into the top of the Mystic Forge, which, if you remember, I think I've done it, if you jump into the Mystic Forge, it'll actually spit you out. And we can have a very similar thing happen here, but it will transform us into a Halloween creature, and then we can do costume brawl, where we can fight against other players who are Halloween creatures or have transformed into a wide variety of different creatures that you can transform into via unlocking different things in the game, where you can become cool little griffins and different enemies that you can like pretend to be like and just dress up, which is really, really fun. And you can do that year round, but it's specifically highlighted during the Shadow of the Mad King because, you know, that makes sense with dressing up and whatnot. But speaking of the jumping puzzle, we have 3 doors here, one to the Mad King's Clock Tower, one to the Ascent of Madness, and one to the Mad King's Labyrinth. Where let's do the Labyrinth last, but let's come to the Clock Tower, because this is one of the most infamous / famous activities in Guild Wars 2, where this is a pretty challenging jumping puzzle that people struggle with a lot when they are newer to the game. And I've logged in and I've done this one time this year so far, where whenever I do it for the first time, I like really want to get it on my first try of the year, and then afterwards it doesn't matter too much. But here I am in a Let's Play episode where I really hope I don't fall here, but it looks so cool and I love the tower aesthetic and everything spinning around it. And this is indeed a timed activity like you might have seen on the UI a little bit ago, where we can go ahead and climb up this way. The tower in the center is spinning and there's like stuff flying past us, but we see this like green magical goo that is under us, and it's going to be slowly rising as we continue through this jumping puzzle. And along the way there are a few chests that we can go ahead and pick up. 2 are basically like free, you just have to press F as you run by them. 1 you have to like run a little bit away, that one right there. But let's just continue this way. And pretty much there is one way up this jumping puzzle, except for at the end there's like a second harder path that you can take that most people don't really ever take, because why would you? It doesn't really give you any different rewards, but it's fun to do just because, you know, it's different and it's more challenging, which some people like to do challenging things just for doing something that's challenging, and I like to take that path every now and then as well. But let's go through the basic way here, where the animation just skip there. Normally the tower like blows up a tiny bit or whatever, but here's where the paths diverge, and this is the simpler route. And you can go ahead and come up here, and then right here, and then carefully up here, and we can get to here and wait. This is going to spin one more time after this, and then the clock tower clock is going to break, and there's going to be an opening in it for us to jump into. And we can go ahead and just get into the safety of this room and complete the jumping puzzle and get our rewards, where there's a lot of rewards we can get from this. Where if we go out of this and go back to Lion's Arch, we can also see an area where we can explore the clock tower, but it's not timed at all, where I don't think even the tower is moving. And then the green goo is not going to be going up as well. And my fiance wanted me to mention when I do this in a Let's Play episode that I've done this jumping puzzle for 12-13 years, so I have a lot of experience with this jumping puzzle. So if you're a newer player and you struggle with this, it is definitely expected for you to struggle with it, because a lot of people consider it one of the most challenging jumping puzzles in the entire game. But here we can just chat with her, and then this will send us in. And you just have to wait for the animation as normal, but we can see the tower is not moving, it is paused. And then here, we're just hanging out on this platform, and we can go at our own pace, where if we need to take time to really calculate a jump, we can go ahead and do that, and it's no pressure at all. And of course, you shouldn't feel bad about doing this mode at all. I know sometimes some people can feel like a little weird about doing things in like an easier way, but it's definitely good to have this available for people who want to do it this way, no matter like whether or not you need to do it this way. Plus, I think there's some bonus achievements for just completing this jumping puzzle this way as well. So pretty much everyone should do it if you're interested in completing some achievements. But since we're on the easier mode, let's go ahead and try to make it a little bit more challenging, and we can go up the second path potentially. It also feels a little bit weird and more difficult to do this way for me, kind of, just because there's so much stuff that you can see, because not everything below you is like disappearing as the green goo that goes up. So you kind of have to like pay more attention to the route you're taking. But let's go ahead, come up here, and then jump to here, and then to here, and then up over here. And you can see the route we took last time to our right, but we can just continue this way, where this does take longer to get to the end, and the jumps are more challenging in my opinion, but then we can get up to the clock tower, and we can jump through, and we can complete this as well, where time unmoving climbed to the stopped clock tower jumping puzzle, and we can complete that a few more times for some more rewards as well. Back in Lion's Arch, we also have this urgent do not read out loud from Magister Tassi. Keep this quiet, but I've been seeing unusual readings from the Mad Realm this year. Travelers have seemed quite shocked upon exiting the labyrinth. I've heard whispers. Any changes to Halloween could be of great significance, and I don't need to remind you, but the doors to the Mad Realm go both ways. At your earliest convenience, could you journey to the labyrinth and report back on anything, say out of the ordinary? Out of the ordinary for a spectral quasi-dimension, of course, for the sake of documentation. But now let's go ahead and come into our looking for group panel here and come down to festivals, into parties, and I guess first let's go into Ascent to Madness, so we can go ahead and create an instance here. Hypothetically we can, at least. There we go. I think I was too far away from the door, but this is a special Halloween dungeon where it is a very quick piece of 5-player content that you can complete, and we can go ahead and create a group here where there's already another group that's going on, but we can go ahead and just begin this by ourselves, because we could solo this, where we have Mad Keen Thorn.
Prepare yourselves for Mad King Sands. For all of you sad sots who don't know the rules, hear me now! You must do only what your Mad King says, and nothing else! Consider it a lesson. Ready? If not, that's unfortunate for you.
So here we can play a game of Mad King Says, which is basically his version of Simon Says, where we need to cower, and then our flesh golem also cowered to his death there. But then in between each one we also have some of his minions, where we have candy corn elementals that we can go ahead and fight here, and his minions are of course Halloween themed, and there's a wide variety of them, and they are pretty interesting and kind of just fun, where the entirety of the Shadow of the Mad King is just fun. Where let's go ahead and dance, where when we are in Lion's Arch, every 3 hours we can play Mad King Says with a ton of people in the center of Lion's Arch, where it is a really big event that a lot of people like to do, especially once a day for the rewards, where you just play a round of Mad King Says for like 12 minutes or something, where he goes into Lion's Arch and will be leading the game. We need to salute, there we go. And then afterwards he'll send and teleport everybody into the Mystic Forge, so then they get spit out and turned into Halloween costumes, minions, whatever, and then everybody can play Costume Brawl together, which is really fun. But now that we've completed a few rounds of Mad King Says, he's going to teleport to this island and we're going to have a boss fight. So we just cleared some trash and now we have a boss fight. And then once we face him, we will progress through this dungeon a little bit. Let's go ahead and just throw everything we can, I suppose, where this is definitely incredibly easy, where if you have like a decent build going on, you can solo this by yourself, and a lot of people do that. But it of course goes by a lot faster just when you have a bunch of players with you, where we need to come over here just to make him teleport down to the next part, where we can just skip past all of these minions here. We got glow-in-the-dark spiders, which actually say made interior on them, which is fun. We also got these plastic spiders. Let's go ahead and throw everything down here. And then we need to get into 25%, I believe, in order to phase into the next part. I love the little bit of jumping we just did, and we're about to have some more jumping, which is also fun. Let's clear our condition. We also got scarecrows we need to avoid because they will scare us. We are crows to them. But if we come down this way, there's the ley line anomaly. And then we can jump to here. And there's another route that we can go as well. But then to here we can jump. And then onto this platform, where let's try to get through here quickly. And then we can help out with the last couple of percentage here, and we can defeat Mad King Thorn, and we complete the mini dungeon, where we can just pick a random one of these, complete a Descent to Madness, and we're getting a bunch of items here. Let's go ahead and say thank you, where let's double check that we open this chest at the end. I also got a Wizard's Vault reward, which is freaking out right now because of the patch. We can go ahead and get that. And then we can leave the party. And I'm a big fan of Ascent to Madness, even though it's pretty short and easy. I think it's really fun content. And I'm also just somebody who really likes festive instance content, where I think it's fun to play through a Halloween themed dungeon, which is what we just did. We have the Mad King's Clock Tower, and we got Ascent to Madness, some pumpkin carving, and Mad King Says all the way over there. And then there's also some doors around Kryda that you can open, and Halloween creatures will come out and you can fight them. But we then have the Mad King's Labyrinth, which is a door that is going to take us to a lot of different places if we chat with the Lunatic Boatmaster, where we can go to the Labyrinth, the Raceway, or we could go to the Clock Tower, Reaper's Rumble, or Lunatic Inquisition. Where let's go ahead and just start a little bit with the Labyrinth, and then we can go do some other stuff, and then we can maybe return to the Labyrinth, where this is basically an open world zone here in the Mad King's realm, where we can go ahead and run around, and we can see we got Mad King Thorn, a giant version of Mad King Thorn right there. And then we have this portal that we can go ahead and take down into the labyrinth, and it is indeed a labyrinth, where if you look at the map, it is a maze, where there are some doors that will spawn, and we can go ahead and open the doors in order to fight a bunch of enemies, and some of them are special bosses, and we can just run around and find carving pumpkins, and there's raw candy corn that we can go ahead and harvest in order to get some more of that special Halloween currency. And then there's another bonus boss that will sometimes randomly appear and stalk people around the labyrinth. And then in the center of the labyrinth, there's like some merchants that you can spawn by trading in some gold. And there's also a mount race that you can participate in, which maybe we could even do if we wanted. And there's just a bunch of decorations all around everywhere. And there's a few different collectibles as well for one-time achievements that I remember doing, where it looks like somebody recently defeated a boss right here, and we can even open the chest for doing that, which is kind of funny. But I know there is this waypoint up here, and I always forget how to get up there, where we have the boss that stalks people around the labyrinthine horror, also known as Steve, where we can go ahead and defeat him, where we can just help out with all of our friends here. And there's a carving pumpkin over there that we can carve. And I'm thinking maybe the way to get up to this waypoint might be through one of those portals that spawn in Kryda. We can go ahead and try to figure that out. But this is just, you know, a pretty generic boss fight, where this boss fight in particular is actually decently challenging. We just saw a player die right there, where we can try to revive him, or he can go to the waypoint, and we need to make sure we kind of sit behind him because he has this big attack here where he just one-shot this guy. Try to get him up. He almost died. I have 2 dead people on the ground. Come over here to help. Yes, while we're over here, we can carve this pumpkin on our journey to become a master carver. Let's get this chill off. We have court duty, where we need to progress that for some different achievements that we can do sometime in the future, where we do have some references to Paulo Joko going on here, which is a tiny bit of a spoiler, but we'll leave that for the future. Where we also see that Mackie Thorne used to have his son in the labyrinth, who he would banter with as well. So I just got down here and I think I'm about to die. Try to break that, and I did die, so let's go ahead and waypoint really quickly and try to get back over here as fast as possible, where we could even just drop down like this if we wanted to and sacrifice our raptor, and then we could mount up again in a minute. There, once we're out of combat we can do that, and then let's go cut through the middle here, where it looks like they defeated him, so we can get our reward there, and then there might be some loot on the ground over there we can go pick up if we hurry. But I really love the labyrinth, and a lot of people really love the labyrinth because it is a really good way to make a ton of money, where a lot of people spend a lot of time farming at the labyrinth, and I think it's actually bugged right now as I'm recording this, where the doors that are special aren't spawning as often as they should, which will probably be fixed long before I finish editing and uploading this video. Where let's go ahead and go towards the center really quickly, because since we have a raptor, we could participate in this mount race. Where in the center we just have a really cool area up here where you can get all those vendors. But let's go ahead and do this mount race, where we have these checkpoints that we have to go through, and typically we want an upgraded raptor, and even we'd want a roller beetle, which is a super fast mount we'll get way later in the game, but we can't upgrade our raptor for a very long time either, because raptors were introduced in a future expansion, but then were retroactively added for lower level players just to have a basic mount where you can only have the unupgraded raptor until you get to that point in Guild Wars 2. But as we come up this way, we can get a very good look at the labyrinth as a whole and everything that is going on around here, and we can also just get laughed by other people on faster, more upgraded mounts than us. And we'll see if I get gold with the lowest level raptor that is available in the game, or if we're going to get silver just because it's so slow compared to some of the mounts that you get in the future. All these red areas are areas where that boss that we just fought will spawn if a player accidentally walks in there while the boss is able to be spawned, where since we just defeated him there is a cooldown for him. But I just love seeing all the decorations around here and fun areas like that carving pumpkin way over there. We're just coming to here and around here, where it's really interesting to not see too many people in like this instance, because this instance just filled with people doing random things, where then you can create a group and have people join your instance to do very specific activities, mostly just running around in circles, killing every mob that you can find and opening doors. But we were 5 seconds short of getting gold, which is unfortunate, and there might be a way that I could speed up my journey there a little bit, but I don't think that is super important. Where we have Masters of the Labyrinth, where we can fight those 3 bosses, can play around a Mad King Says, and we can open some trick or treat bags just to get a special armor set. But then we also have just a ton of achievements for so many different things, and then we also got some weekly and daily and annual achievements and some repeatable stuff that we can do as well. Where there's so much you can complete in this festival, and so many different activities, Well, let's go look at some more where we see the labyrinth also utilized for a different activity, a PvP game mode of there's a lot of different versions of this game mode, so I'm not sure what the best example is, but let's just say zombies, where we can join a lunatic inquisition where at the start of a game we are going to have a ton of villagers and then one person is going to become death, where anybody who joins afterwards, which is apparently only me, and I have no idea, it's just 2 people in here, that's weird. So I immediately won a game of this, which is kind of crazy. But basically, we'll have a ton of villagers and they will run around the map trying to survive against one person who is a lunatic. And the lunatic is trying to kill all the villagers. Let's leave this and then come back, because maybe this is bugged, or maybe there's only 2 people in the world that happens to be doing this right now. So we might not really be able to do this right now. But the lunatic is trying to kill all the villagers, and when a villager dies, they will be converted. Where here we go. We are a villager, and we need to survive. Where there are a lot of things that we can go ahead and pick up, like this torch, in order to try to survive against the lunatics. And where, let's come up this way. I have one area that I always love hanging out at, and I think it's like right over here. But it can be pretty boring to just hang out in one specific spot. And there's even some secrets where you can eventually get a gun to shoot the lunatics, which is kind of crazy. And not a lot of people actually know about the secrets. Oh, I can't zoom out farther than this. I think this is new, so I can't really poke my head over and see if there's any lunatics coming this way. Maybe let's be more exciting and not just hide in a corner until the end of the game. But I always love getting the... Oh jeez, I always love getting the gun, because a lot of people don't realize you can get the gun and then you shoot the lunatics and you can kill them in like 2 shots. And then they're like, what just happened to me? I was not expecting that, because the villagers are incredibly weak and the lunatics are incredibly strong. But we have strength in numbers right now, where I think there's like just 1 lunatic. I don't see any of them just yet. But there's like a couple of fun areas that you can hide out in as well. There's like this one spot where you can hide like super far away, and then you can jump off the map to then get teleported back in. And then you're like behind the lunatics, but then you can run, or you could like stun them. And I don't see any of them. I have a torch in hand, which I think is one of my favorite items. I played a decent amount of this actually. A lot of people don't really play this too often, but it's a little mini game that I like a lot, where we can gather a bunch of torches here, and then at different areas you can gather different items, and then you can get a feast, which I think will make us just like a little bit faster, and a little bit more health maybe. Where do we go to the center where they don't expect us? I think there might be 1 lunatic. And they're not AFK. Oh wait, there might be AFK. We might just not be getting hunted right now. Oh my gosh, there he is. Oh wait, actually. Is he coming this way? Or is he going the other way? It seemed like maybe he was AFK, or maybe he died or something and then respawned. I kind of just want... Oh, there's 2 of them, and now there's a 3rd one that just... Okay, let's get out of here. I don't know why I'm in the center. Okay, there's 3 of them down there. So there's 4 lunatics now. There's 1 minute and 50 seconds left. We need to get out this way. And we're back over here. And we could maybe use some of these people as sacrifices, potentially. I kind of want to get to the eastern end where we have that thing where we can like jump off the map. Is that... I was over there and then I just ran in. Oh, there's a Mad King's Feast right here. So some people completed this. Let's go ahead and partake in this. Exempt from playing Mad King says an increased movement speed, where the lunatics can force you to play Mad King says, or you take a lot of damage. Oh, there's one right there. There's one right there. Let's get out of here. Oh wait, maybe that was a villager. Okay, when we come around the corners here, we need to be really careful None of them are here. I don't see them. We're surviving, and there's less than a minute left. They could spawn right. Oh, there's one. There's one. Okay. There's 40 seconds left. I think I might be dead, but let's come up here. There we go. And then we jump off. And then, why are there 3 of them? Okay, so I was able to destroy. Oh no. Why are there 3 of them? Let's go invisible. They don't know I'm here. Wait, they actually did. They have no. Okay. I feel bad because they're newer. Okay, let's get out of here. How did I survive against 3 of them? Okay, that's kind of funny. And the village wins where we survived at the end there, which is kind of crazy. That was actually really fun there. But that is Lunatic Inquisition, which also, I love the moon. But now let's go to, really quickly, let's just go check out the Raceway, where we can participate in all these activities, but since we haven't fully unlocked the mounts, we can like rent them out here, but since we haven't fully unlocked them, I don't think I'm going to participate in this year, but we can take a look at this area because I love it so much, where there's 3 different mount races that we can do that take us around this entire area with different obstacles and whatnot. But I love all of the corn and all the different trees and like gravestones and decorations around here. It's just a really fantastic location where this area was utilized for the Raceway after the original activity that it was made for, Reaper's Rumble, where this is basically Guild Wars 2's first original take on a MOBA game mode, where we have 2 bases and then we have 3 lanes with 3 mausoleums for each team, and we basically have to kill the enemy team's mausoleums, and we have to spawn skeletons, aka like creeps, in order to push down the enemy's lanes in order to get to their mausoleum. And we can try to kill this guy, so then he's out of the game for a little bit. Can kill the skeleton so our skeletons can push towards the mausoleum. And then we have like this pumpkin here that we can bring back to our mausoleum to spawn more skeletons. So let's go ahead. We can go to the west, east, or mid lane. Farmer just threw in some there. Let's throw this pumpkin in here. And then we're going to get even more skeletons. So there's 4 from the pumpkin on top of these that were just sent out. So let's push down with them, or maybe, since there's so many of them right here, let's try to steal this pumpkin really quickly, where it looks like they actually have 2 of their team here. So let's come defend, where they're kind of dying to our minions here. Let's throw this in, and then we might be able to get a double kill here. There's 1, and there we go. And then we just spawned 4 more skeletons, so a double kill plus spawning some skeletons is good. Now we have 3 of our teammates here, and we have some skeletons. So red team is too big. We could volunteer if we want. I don't really want to because I've invested so much time into this team. Let's kill this farmer. And then let's try to kill skeletons. And then we can try to attack the mausoleum. Oh, it's currently 3v5. Where it picked me. Okay, that's so unfortunate. I really did not want it to pick me. Let's get over here and I guess kill the skeletons that I spawned a few seconds ago. And you can try to defend this mausoleum and heal. I think we might be losing this. Our team's central mausoleum, so now there's going to be a lot of pressure on both the left and the right side, and we need to try to get forward as well, where there's so many skeletons here. Let's try to help out. Can take an aimed shot, where I dealt a lot of damage there, And I think the red team just has so much map control, and it's also a 4v3. Let's just try to clear the skeletons as best we can. I think I'm going to die again here. Can kill this one. Oh. I forgot that guy was there. But this can be a pretty fun game mode, but I'm just not somebody who finds it too particularly fun, but I do think it is kind of, it's definitely cool to have in the game, and it's fun to play every now and then. But when it comes to like the activities in Shadow of the Mad King, there's so many skeletons. This is probably the activity I've done the least. Okay, the west one has like 20 skeletons on it, and a player. I think it's about to die. Okay, well, I killed that guy. Okay, let's try to heal. Okay, and then I guess try to get to the East Mausoleum, but it's going down. And I think we have officially lost. Or if we consider ourselves the red team, we have won this game. Alright, let's go ahead and leave out of here. I thought we'd get like a reward or something for participating. But it's definitely a really fun game mode. And also in the cornfields, you can like run through the cornfields and you're in stealth when you're inside of them, which I think is really, really fun as well. But that is pretty much all of the big stuff with Shadow of the Mad King, where there are a lot of achievements that we can progress through, and over the years I might take a little bit of time to look at each individual thing, and maybe one day we'll complete a lot of stuff. Maybe I'll just do like the clock tower like 40 times next year, who knows. But really, really fun, and that's pretty much everything that I wanted to highlight with the Shadow of the Mad King. But let's just return to the labyrinth for a bit, where I returned, and I'm actually on this side. So let's get this waypoint so we have it unlocked, which is fantastic. But let's come into festivals. Right now, let's look at large squads, where we can try to find a group doing doors. Where I like it when groups do all of the doors, personally, because I don't care too much about gold, and I know it's like less gold, and I just like fighting the things and killing the bosses and hanging out and having a good old time. But as we load into this instance, we will now have a bunch of friends, and they're currently going to the center. So let's go teleport down here, and then get through here and mount up onto our raptor, and we can just run around with some friends, kill some Halloween creatures, listen to Mad King Thorn banter, and just have a good old time celebrating Halloween in Guild Wars 2. Where as we do this, we probably want to have our ranged weapons, so we can try to deal like range damage so we can hit enemies, and then we can use like an AoE attack here, and then we can also try to give ourselves some swiftness. We can also give ourselves some loot buffs from these banners, which is nice. And something we want to try to pay attention to is not knocking back enemies, but it happens so much just because so many people level up, and you can get a ton of experience. But you also want to try not to deal too much damage to enemies, so that multiple people can hit the enemy at the same time. And I just realized that we're not going this way, so let's just kill this guy. Oh, let's just max DPS here since there's nobody here. And then I guess maybe we'll cut down this way, mount up to my raptor, and meet our friends over here. Some raw candy corn that a lot of people are mining. There's some carving pumpkins here. And we also get a ton of trick-or-treat bags, which is my fiance's like favorite thing in all Guild Wars 2, is just opening trick-or-treat bags, because you just get so many random items, and sometimes you can get a really good expensive item. Here we have this boss here, the Hollowed Gourd Binder, which is actually a newer boss. They added 2 newer bosses several years ago now. I'm gonna go ahead and fight this boss, but if you take a look at the trick-or-treat, oh, that's a 10 slot one, which we could put into our bags. But here we go, we have 105. And we can preview this to see, we just get a bunch of items here that are kind of just trash items, but then we have these rare items where there are a ton of fun skins, and I like some of these skins a lot. And you can get these undulating refractors that are polyluminescent, which are fun customization options. You also get the Karka helm skin, and then there's a super rare chance for some incredible items, including the Touch of Madness, which is not that super rare, I think. But this is one of my favorite torch skins in the game, just because, there we go, it's just lights your hand on fire. So it's like you're summoning fire out of your hand. It's kind of like, you know, a magical torch, and you're not really utilizing like the actual physical item in order to get that fire. And if you come into the trading post and we do Touch of Madness, and for anyone who watches a lot of my videos, you probably see I have this on my main character. Oops. And I use it quite a bit, but it sells for 2 gold, which is not that much money compared to some of these items, which are worth a fair bit more, I think. But we do just get like a ton of items from the Halloween event that we can open, and we can open these for a chance to get special chain weapons. We added a new chain spear, which has a different icon, which is kind of funny. Or this might be added last year, I can't entirely remember. But there's just so many items that you can get, and you can sell a lot of these items just to make a ton of gold. And the Shadow of the Mad King Festival is a pretty fun way to make gold in Guild Wars 2. And it's kind of fun to have this right before an upcoming expansion, just to kind of get some extra money into our wallets. But here we could open all of our trick-or-treat bags, or we could cancel that if we want. Got something good to eat. I guess we can open up to 50 for this achievement. And you can just see a ton of items will be coming into our inventory, and we could have a chance to get something good other than just like the random candies and whatnot, where we can open up to 1,000 to get a Royal Flame weapon coffer, where we need to complete, like it says, or defeat the 3 Earth bosses, which we are now fighting Steve once again. But there's also a ton of achievements, as I've highlighted before. And there's just so much stuff you can do during the Shadow of the Mad King. And if you're a completionist, it will definitely take you a long time and probably multiple years in order to get like all the achievement points available outside of the annual achievement, which will take like 20 years to get all the achievement points. But that's kind of by design there, of course. We can kill Steve, get more rewards, carving pumpkin, progress on achievements, and there's just, again, for like the 50th time, so much stuff. Here we have a big event where we're going to get a ton of creatures, so that we have an opportunity to tag a lot of grunts, as we got that daily there. And we can also double check the daily really quickly. Halloween daily, we have completed it and gotten Halloween Fright, which will progress. And achievement where you need to complete 5 dailies to get like a big special weapon set. And we're getting like double progress because there's some of these that count towards multiple achievements. And I think next year we can start looking at some of the story behind Shadow of the Mad King as well, because there are a couple of like small adventures that we can go on to investigate some different things. But that might also be stuff that we look forward to years from now, as well as we complete more and more of the story in Guild Wars 2, which does eventually connect back to the Shadow of the Mad King. We got some personalized trick-or-treat bags here that we can open. And then I guess we could open these Halloween prize bags, see if you happen to get anything good. Does not look like it. Got some large candy bags, so we can open these to get a bunch of trick-or-treat bags, plus some other fun stuff. Got some essences of luck, and so many items, including stuff from Living World Season 2, as I've been exploring through as well. But here we got a legendary skeletal lich, another classic boss that we can go ahead and fight. Which we have this boss, and then we have this boss up here, which hopefully will spawn, and then we will have defeated all 5 of the bosses, including one of them twice. Pretty easy boss to defeat, and it's just so relaxing to run through the labyrinth, where it's really fun to just sit back and just mindlessly kill a ton of creatures and get some rewards for it. And it's also fun to just like sit here and play while listening to like an audiobook or watching like a YouTube video or whatever. which maybe some people are playing through the labyrinth right now while watching this video, which would kind of be funny. We got Mad King's chest. Wish we could get some equipment or a candy corn cob, or let's just get the personalized trick or treat bags just for the fun of it. And then last goodbye, I think that's from season 2. You can get the spooky ghost tonic from the Mad King's Clock Tower once a year, and the spooky skeleton tonic. Just transform into them for fun. Here we have this boss again, so we can go ahead and fight Harrow Velton once again. So we will have fought 2 of the bosses twice. We have this Carrion Tribal Focus, a new skin that we have unlocked on our account. Which, over time, we've unlocked more and more skins. Got so many plastic fangs to deposit these materials. Clears up so much inventory space. Got this lunatic coat box, so we can look at like the noble coat. And I think there's a bloodstained version of this too, which is kind of cool. Here's the one for light armor, but I like the medium armor one a lot, I think. And I guess you can look at the heavy armor as well, which is maybe my least favorite of the 3. And then we can get an entire set that looks like this. Also get limited use scarecrow finishers. And I think there's like a jack-o'-lantern finisher as well. Boot requisition order grants the ability to purchase carapace boot boxes from Bandit Quest collectors. So I guess that's just unlocked now. I forgot that was a thing from Living World Season 2. Down goes this boss, and then it looks like we might be going back this way to get this door for a ton of rewards. Champion of the Labyrinth, we defeated a grand total of 5 bosses. Where it looks like maybe we're actually going this way. Wish I should not be using my raptor like that. But it looks like we're gonna go through the mid, try to tag as many mobs as we can along the way, and then we can go over this way in order to loop back around. I'm also getting a ton of Wizard's Vault objectives. We got some weekly stuff here that I'm completing. Almost complete 10 events. And then we also got some special objectives only during the Halloween festival, where we can complete a Royal Tradition, or the Halloween Rituals Achievement, Masters of the Labyrinth, or Raceway Regular, which I think I will just be doing Masters of the Labyrinth once I kill the next boss, but all the others I don't care too much about. This is another good door just to tag a bunch of mobs, and I probably shouldn't try to deal too much damage. I can try to get tags on everything, and of course progress this achievement as well. Here, limited use Mad King finisher. Some large candy bags. And we can open some more trick or treat bags. See if we get anything good. We can just watch all the loot fill up our inventory. Oh, we got the nest. So nothing too great, but definitely an interesting skin here. Which you can see it's kind of horrifying. It's a sepulchre skin. So if we ever do some sort of like insect-based outfit, this might be good. Or if we sell it on the train post, I think we could get like 50 silver or something. Train post is still acting a little weird. Oh, here we go. It's actually almost 5 gold just for this skin. It's also a berserker weapon, so maybe I'll just like hold on to this, but we could just lock it in and unlock the skin. And now we have this on our account. A very special Halloween themed weapon, worth 5 gold if we get another one. Or if you wanted an exotic berserker scepter, that would be good as well. But there's much cheaper ones that you can get. So you could just sell this and get the cheaper one. Here's another door with a ton of mobs, where each of the doors are set events. So of course over time you just memorize which doors spawn which events. So some people will just skip the boss doors, and some people will skip like the veteran doors and just go for this one, but a lot of people will go for both the veteran ones and the ton of mobs at the same time. But if you're a new commander, this is definitely a pretty easy like route or concept that you can learn, and can be a good opportunity for you to like step your toes into leading some sort of open world event. So many essences of luck. I got 92% magic find there. 2% of that is from achievements, where we can get from luck up to 300% bonus magic find, which I feel like we might not hit ever, but I've done it on my main account, and we might eventually do it on this account too. We gotta also eat 150 candy corn if we want, and I'm sure we have quite a few candy corn. We've gotten over 1,000 just from playing so far. So let's go get the stack of 150, consume on this, and then we get arguably food-like. Got that achievement. Now 3,900 achievement points. These banners are still up, so we can go ahead and get our buffs again. As long as somebody's interacted with them in the last like 5 minutes, I think they stay. As long as the person who put them down is still in the map. Here we have this boss door, which we might be fighting or we might be skipping. Because the commander said we'll fight Steve. I guess we're skipping. Oh, I want to fight this boss. We're running back. Oh, here we go. We've got the Grand High Viscount of Candy Corn. Yeah, it looks like we're fighting. So this is the 5th and final boss that we needed. So let's go ahead and try to attack Candy Corn enemy here, which is really funny to see. Just like a massive candy corn elemental. It's just really fun. Because festivals in Geodude in general are just fun and great vibes. But this fight, just like all the others, are very, very easy. And we can easily defeat this boss. I think we're about to get a couple of achievements. I know one of them for sure. There we go. Masters of the Labyrinth. And then as far as the Lunatic Wardrobe goes, we just have to impress Mad King Thorn with our obedience and a round of Mad King Says, which we might do some other year. We can just kill Steve really quickly here. Friendly neighborhood skeleton. Get our little chest there. And then let's go back to Lion's Arch, because I've been playing for a very long time now. And with this video, I've really highlighted everything that I wanted to highlight with Shadow of the Mad King. Wish with future years we can go ahead and maybe just play for some fun vibes as each festival rolls around. And maybe try to complete some of the other achievements that are available, but really everything that I've shown in this video is the big stuff that you can do during Shadow of the Mad King. And even in Tyria, we can see the Mad King is watching us as the moon has changed, which I think is really fun. Which this entire festival, I think, is really fun, and I just love it a lot. And Shadow of the Mad King is probably one of the most popular, if not the most popular festivals in Guild Wars 2. It's between this one or Winter's Day, which is the next festival coming up later in December and into January. But I really hope you all enjoyed watching me play through Shadow of the Mad King, and I'm excited to return a little bit next year for another bonus fun episode of some festival shenanigans. But I hope you all are taking great care of yourselves. Remember to drink some water and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all next time in the Road of Tyria. Goodbye.